But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the green belt, which don't mean it, the real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
Can you talk about the difficulty of this decision?
Yes, it's very sad. It is very complicated to have to vacate a title, to withdraw recognition of a champion hurts very deeply.
And this is what TKO is saying. Why do you have to pay them? Don't pay them. Don't adhere to their crazy rules.
Terence Crawford calls for a boycott of the WBC after they stripped Shakur Stevenson of his title, sharply criticizing the organization for what he describes as arrogant behavior, overly strict regulations, and excessively high sanctioning fees imposed on fighters.
$300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any other sanctioned bodies? Huh? To that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA?
Terence Crawford openly clashes with WBC President Mauricio Suleiman, stating that he can take the belt whenever he wants, while accusing Suleiman of charging a pointless $100,000 fee related to Shakur Stevenson's situation.
You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway.
Shakur Stevenson stated on X, "I just paid these dudes after my last fight. What the hell am I giving y'all $100K right now for?" He questioned why he was being charged again, suggesting it was because the WBC has issues with Bud Crawford and was now coming after him instead. His comments expressed deep frustration with the constant demands. Terence Crawford added that officials live comfortably off fighters, while athletes take brutal punishment in the ring, and are still forced to pay unnecessary WBC sanctioning fees.
He won the WBC super lightweight, then he unified and became undisputed in welterweight against WBC champion, who was Spence. Great fight. He petitioned to fight a final elimination bout in super welterweight against Madrimov and remain champion in welter. The WBC supported him. He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
Shakur Stevenson also stated, $100K to some crooks who don't deserve it. Nah, Lil Lonnie, I'd rather give it to you, baby girl. The WBC didn't even have anything to do with this fight, and it's eating them alive. Take your belt. It don't make me. These words showed his anger and disappointment. Roy Jones Jr. responded by saying that regardless of disputes, stripping a champion of their belt is unfair, disrespectful, and makes the organization look bad.
All that, and guess who got to pay for it? Us fighters. We paying for y'all to come out here, have the time of y'all life, stay in the best hotels of y'all life, and it's all done on our dime. It's done on our dime. Do that sound right to y'all? It's crazy, ain't it? We the one out there getting battered, knocked upside our head, and every time we step foot in the ring, we gotta pay them a sanction fee like they the government. We getting taxed. It's crazy.
Chris Mannix strongly criticizes the WBC for demanding excessive fees from Shakur Stevenson, calling the practice disgusting and unjust. He stresses that no matter how much money Shakur earns, it belongs to him, and the organization has no moral right to claim a portion of it. Mannix argues that the current sanctioning system is fundamentally broken and should not exist because it exploits fighters who already face extreme physical and mental challenges in the ring. He points out that athletes absorb punishment, take serious risks, and dedicate their lives to sport, yet are still burdened with unnecessary financial demands from governing bodies like the WBC.
Something that a lot of people were really upset about. And
I don't really want to get too deep into that. All I'm going to say is it's wrong for him to be stripped if he didn't even defend the title.
Yeah. That's all.
The WBC first became controversial with Terence Crawford when he refused to pay a $300,000 fee following his fight with Canelo Alvarez. Many believe Crawford was fully justified in saying no. He questioned why he should hand over such a large amount, noting that other sanctioning bodies such as the IBF, WBA, and WBO never raised issues about the fees he paid them. Those organizations simply accepted their share without conflict, highlighting what many see as the WBC's arbitrary demands. Crawford emphasized that his purses were his own business and that Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC president, had no valid reason to demand extra money. Even when Crawford offered the standard 3% of his earnings, the WBC rejected it and insisted on a higher 6%, far more than other organizations required. Analysts noted that beyond awarding a belt, sanctioning bodies often contribute little to the fight itself, making their high fees questionable.
That is as crooked and shady as you can possibly get. And for the WBC to do this now, when sanctioning bodies are under attack, when the sanctioning system is under attack, this is a glaring example about why maybe they shouldn't exist. Maybe they shouldn't be in boxing if you are going to reach into the pocket of a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, ask for $100,000. According to Shakur, there's been no comment on this from the WBC. I asked for one. I talked to a member of their staff, said, tell me what's going on here. And all I've seen is the Instagram post of the WBC saying they were stripping him. To reach into the pocket of a fighter for a fight that you have nothing to do with and asking for $100,000. I don't care how much money Shakur Stevenson made that night. That's his money. That belongs in his pocket. The WBC had nothing to do with it. It is disgusting. Disgusting that they stripped Shakur Stevenson of that belt. And Shakur would be right to never fight for a WBC belt ever.
Shakur Stevenson remains undefeated, and no opponent has taken his belt from him inside the ring. Despite this, the WBC declared his title vacant after he moved up in weight, claiming his absence created a void in the division. This allowed new contenders to fight for the belt, even though Stevenson never lost it. The distinction matters because the title was vacated administratively, not through defeat. Stevenson's career remains unaffected, as this was a technical decision rather than a reflection of his ability or record. Establishing these facts makes it clear that his achievements remain intact, and his undefeated status continues to define him as one of boxing's elite fighters.
For me, I think Terence Crawford's well within his rights to say that I ain't giving you $300,000. Why? Like, why am I giving you $300,000? What for? And don't talk about my purse. Like Mauricio Suleiman saying Terence Crawford made 50 million. What's that got to do with you? No. And what I like as well about Terence, he said, look, I gave the IBF money, I gave the WBA money, I gave the WBO money. We haven't heard any of those organizations moan about the amount Terence Crawford gave to them. They're like, oh, we'll take it. Because ultimately, what are they doing? Apart from strapping a belt around your waist, what are they doing? And we'll get to that as well. So he then tried to give the WBC that amount of money as well. They clearly said, no, we're not taking that. We want a bit more. And then they're like, okay, normally we take 3%, but 3% of 50 million would have been too much. So you know what? We'll give you, we'll allow you to pay us 0.6%.
Analyst Ade Oladipo considers the WBC's decision to strip Shakur Stevenson of his 135-pound title both unusual and controversial. Stevenson, still undefeated, had clearly stated that his move up in weight was temporary and that he planned to return to the 135-pound division. Despite this, the WBC declared the title vacant, arguing that his inactivity at the weight created a vacancy and opened the door for new contenders. Oladipo notes that the situation highlights the WBC's rigid and bureaucratic approach. Even though Stevenson's last fight was not for the WBC title, the organization's rules still required him to pay 50% of the sanctioning fee as if it had been a title defense.
Can be ruled inactive at that weight class. So, despite nobody beating Shakur Stevenson, he is a undefeated fighter. Nobody took his belt. But for whatever reason, the WBC has decided him moving up has created some type of void and have now made and declared his title vacant, allowing the division to successfully move forward with new contenders. So in this case, Stevenson, he didn't lose his belt in the ring. Nobody beat him. He's still undefeated. The title was vacated administratively, which is a difference. And we need to establish the facts from the fiction. So nobody beat Stevenson. It doesn't really hurt his career, his official box rec. And it says he's suspended by the commission indefinitely. So I'm not sure if he has some type of injury, but usually when it says indefinitely, they got to get clearance from a doctor to come back. And again, this could be possibly from his fight with Shakur Stevenson. So this is a developing story, and we'll see ultimately how it plays out, what the WBC officially decides to do in terms of who's next and what's next. So what are the facts? What does this mean? Shakur Stevenson was not stripped for any type of misconduct. Shakur was not penalized per se, and Shakur Stevenson is not suspended. So it simply reflects the WBC has considered him no longer active at lightweight at this time. A bit political. That's the only thing that I can think of.
The analyst views this policy as excessive, especially considering that Stevenson never lost his belt in the ring. Oladipo also points out that the WBC's handling of Stevenson mirrors past controversies involving other fighters, showing how sanctioning fees and administrative decisions often create friction between champions and the organization. In the end, Stevenson's career remains intact because the administrative stripping does not damage his undefeated record, but it does raise serious questions about the fairness and transparency of sanctioning body rules.
All right, Shakur Stevenson blast WBC and responds to being stripped of a 135-pound title. This is a bit wild. It's a bit wild. And the reason it's a bit wild, so many different reasons actually, but one of the biggest reasons is that Shakur has always said, I want to go up to fight Tio, but I want to come back down to 135. So basically, he's almost telling the WBC, let me go up there, I will come back down. And with what the WBC are going through right now, and this battle with Zuffa, where, you know, they've got some real big players and power over there, and they're saying F the belts, and WBC are fighting, saying no, the belts mean stuff. The last thing you want to do is have a public spat, a public back and forth with one of the biggest names in boxing right now. Now, Shakur Stevenson is one of the biggest names in boxing. And the thing about Shakur as well, you piss him off, this guy will go straight to social media and make it known that he's pissed off, and that's what he's done.
The analyst observes that Shakur Stevenson has made it absolutely clear that he is a 135-pound fighter. He has only moved up in weight for situational opportunities. Recently, he defeated former unified lightweight and WBO junior welterweight champion Teofimo Lopez in dominant fashion. Stevenson now holds a record 22 wins, 2 losses, and no draws, with 13 victories coming by knockout. Despite his clear intentions, the WBC acted hastily in vacating his 135-pound title, showing little patience and allowing him time to decide his next move. Stevenson repeatedly stated that he plans to compete at 135 pounds unless a special opportunity presents itself.